Greetings YouTube. Today what I'm going to do is build a simple podium. The first thing you'll need to do is take an 8-foot 2x4 and cut it in half so that it's perfectly 4 feet long and you have two even sides. So once I cut those in half, so I use those 3/8 drill bit and just drilled about maybe a half-inch deep into the wood, nothing much, just to make sure that the particular screws that I'm using are going to go into the other piece. So I'm going to do this on both sides at several points. One moment. Using these little triangles that I have from my last project, I'm going to use these to secure the stand. I'm also going to use this same angle and setup to give me the slant for the top of the podium. So what I'm going to do is going to use the same 1 5/8 here, draw my diagonal and cut that out, and then that's going to be my slant. Now that I have my 1 5/8 mark made, and I'm going to compare that to what I have here. Clearly I'm on by the practice field for the band. Alright, so after even and square everything up, alright, it's pretty much going to be good. Alright, so of course things aren't perfect. Alright, now that I have my angle cut out, I have to clean up the edges with a rasp. Once the edges are cleaned off, I'm going to secure it to the base. Then use some other larger triangles that I have to serve as the four-way stand on each side. Make sure that when students lean up against it, teacher leans up against it, won't be falling over. What I have is a 1 foot by 2 foot piece, and for whatever reason the person at Home Depot who was supposed to cut them evenly did not, so I'm going to make the larger one the base for stability. Where I need to put my, I guess we'll call that the shaft, or this in relation to the base. Total dimensions, even though it's supposed to be 2 feet, is actually 23 7/8. The two 2x4s put together are, instead of being 3 for the 1 1/2, are 2 15/16. To subtract the bigger denominator from the smaller one, we had to re-put it. First of all, they had to match up denominator wise. Then what we had to do is, of course, get it so that the denominator, or rather the numerator of the 23 needed to turn to 22. Take the 16 over 16, add 16 plus 14 to give you 30. So 22 and 30/16 is the same as 23 and 14/16, which is the same as 23 and 7/8. Moving on forward. Now we can subtract 22 and 30/16 by 2 and 15/16. Alright, which then gives us 20 and 15/16. Which then we have to divide by 2, because remember, half is going to be on one side of the post and then the other half is going to be on the other. So once you cut that in half, 10, 7.5/16. And from there we're going to measure from the edge of the wood or the base to here, and then that's going to give us the horizontal. Now we have to do the same thing for the vertical. Nicely enough, the other one was actually a perfectly 1 foot. So anyway, instead of being 3 1/2, it's actually 3 3/8. Moving on, had to convert the 12 to 11 and 8/8, and now we can subtract. And so anyway, we get 8 5/8, divide that in half, we get the 4 and 2 1/2/8. Now I have to measure that out so that the 4 and 2 1/2/8 matches up with the 10 and 7.5/16, and that is where the corner is, and that's where we can put our base to our post. Alright, the mark of 10 and 7.5/16 right there. The mark of 4 and 2 1/2/8 right there. You're going to have to hear me over the band. Moving on forward, since I know that I have to do this, what I'm going to do is drill 4 little small holes or whatever in here in the outline of what I did. now of course it's not perfect. I just went on a straight line that, or freehanded that one. So moving on, I'm going to put, like I said, 4 holes, so that way when I screw through it from the opposite side, then I can know exactly where I'm going and how I'm going into it. So let's do that. You don't want to be lazy and you don't want to be sorry. So after I mark the box out, what I'm going to do is use my T-square to make a line to make sure that when I put, or rather when I attach the top to the post or whatever, then it's going to be straight. If you're going to build something yourself, put the best quality into it. Otherwise, just buy something cheap. I'm going to secure the top. What I did was I put some of those smaller triangles, since it was cut at that same angle, alright, as a reinforcement down here on the front. Now what I'm going to do, take another one, put it right here along the side, and we'll pretty much be done. Alright, if this was flat ground or whatever, I'm on a hill, then this would be flat. But anyway, gonna do that and be done. If you're wondering where all these triangles came from, then cut some out for yourself right now. You will get 2 small triangles when you cut the angle in the shaft for the top of the podium. Use those as a template to make 4 more. Take another 2x4, which can be 1 or 2 feet long, and cut out 4 larger ones, or larger triangles, like it shows in the picture above. They all don't have to match up exactly. It just makes them look better, since these will be visible. And you don't want one being obtuse and one acute and all that other craziness. It'll look really, really, really crazy. Not to mention for any of y'all that remember your math and are like, hey, an obtuse triangle wouldn't even work in this. I know, nerd. What I also did was took another set of those little small triangles and put on the sides, so that way it would give it some sideways, as in this way. Alright, sturdy. Finally, what I did was I took a 2-foot, I don't know, little metal tie, just screwed it into the end. But anyway, Charles Edgar Hampton here on behalf of the Variety Tube channel, showing you a fully completed, alright, podium. Peace and blessings.